Hey guys, the Sack Daddy here with my first video in my Morrowind for Beginners series. Morrowind has been one of my favorite games ever since it came out in May 2002. My uncle bought it for me back then, and it has remained a classic favorite. The world is diverse and mysterious and beautiful. The lore is exceptionally in depth, and the story is timeless. Morrowind really kind of started my huge fanboyism with Bethesda. This is really where it all started. And this video series is basically going to be help culture a feeling of curiosity of this game. I want other people to enjoy it, and between Steam summer sales and just the fact that it's been out a long time, there's people who've bought the game and really haven't delved into it. One, because it looks dated to them and they're not really sure it's that kind of game for them. They don't really think it looks that great. Or two, they just don't really know anything about it. They heard about Morrowind, but they really haven't delved into it. They're not sure what to do. The world is very big, very open, and they're not really sure where to start. So this is supposed to give you a little bit of a guide, help get you started, show you where you're at, what to do, and just to kind of help get you interested in the game, get you exploring, get you reading. So before we start up this playthrough, I want to explain that I am using some mods. I use the Morrowind Graphics and Sound Overhaul by Ornithopter. You can get it just by Googling that. And I use the Morrowind Rebirth 3.0. There are a couple conflicts between these two, but the conflicts are explicitly stated on the Rebirth page, and MGSO has a installer. It's all pretty simple and pretty idiot proof. If you do have any questions, you can always leave a comment below and I can get back to you, kind of help you out with what you're doing. And I do use one other mod, and that is a mod to delay the Dark Brotherhood. I'll get more into that later. So, for now, let's start it up, see what we got. We're gonna watch this cutscene here. Each event is preceded by prophecy, but without the hero, there is no event. In the waning years of the Third Era of Tamriel, a prisoner born on a certain day to uncertain parents was sent under guard, without explanation, to Morrowind, ignorant of the role he was to play in that nation's history.
They have taken you from the Imperial City's prison, first by carriage and now by boat. To the east, to Morrowind. Fear not, for I am watchful. You have been chosen.
Wake up. We're here. Why are you shaking? Are you okay? Wake up.
Now, you start out as a prisoner on an Imperial ship.
Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming. What's your name?
You are here with your good friend Giab, and the back storage container of this ship.
I heard them say we've reached Morrowind. I'm sure they'll let us go.
As you can tell, the Imperial prisoner is a recurring theme with Bethesda.
Here comes the guard.
This is where you get off. Come with me.
You start out in the town of Seyda. It is an Imperial port city, that is basically their entrance to Vardenfell by sea. There is a fort just a little over there, which is
This
Fort
is where they want you.
Peligade.
Head down to the dock and I'll show you to the census office.
And that is a nice
We
little
finally arrived, but our
Imperial
records don't
stronghold.
show from where.
So they can try and weasel their way into Morrowind. Now, races. I'm going to go and talk a little bit about each race. Nothing too in-depth, just a little overview. I'll give some highlights on what they're good for, what to watch out for. My first gripe with the races is Argonian and Khajiit. They are considered beast races and are not allowed to use boots. There are so many good boots in this game that not being able to use them is ridiculous in my opinion, and you should never pick these classes because of it. But if you are dead set on playing these classes, do not play Argonian. Argonian, in my opinion, is one of the worst classes, probably the worst class. Their skill bonuses do not really attribute to any one thing. You get a couple bonuses to each, but they don't really match up well. The only good thing that they have that I really will admit is they have water breathing and they can resist poison. Bretons, probably my favorite mage class. They have only bonuses, the skill bonuses and their specials. They have resistance to magicka and fortify maximum magicka, half your intelligence. This is great. These guys are just all around great mage. They really have no detriments to picking this, just bonuses. Dark Elves. These are a very good jack of all trades class. The Dark Elves have one thing that sets them apart from every other class, and that is Ashborn, because you resist fire 75%. Ashborn is amazing because in Morrowind you will find there is so much fire damage. People shoot fire spells, there are blades enchanted with fire, fire atronachs, all kinds of things use fire damage, and that 75% is huge, especially when you're fighting mages. They also have a very decent skill bonus. Athletics is great for everything. They have destruction and mysticism, as well as light armor for a mage. If you want to be a stealthy character, they do have short blade, marksman, and light armor. If you want to be maybe upfront attack guy, you do have long blade and marksman for shooting a little far away, and then light armor. Light armor is very good in this game. I recommend it unless you really want to play a heavy armor character, then obviously heavy armor. High elves are the high risk high reward mage. You've got some good bonuses here. You've got a lot of skill bonus to magicka. Now the thing that makes them high risk is you have weakness to elements, and that puts you at 25% weakness to everything, essentially. And that can be destructive when you have people who are hitting for a lot of damage. That 25% stacks up. Although, on the other side, you do have resist paralysis, which will come in handy if someone runs at you with a jink blade. Those are blades enchanted with paralysis. Those things can destroy you in a fight because you're just kind of stuck there taking it. But the thing that makes them exceptionally good mages is attuned to magic. You do have fortify magicka 1.5 times your intelligence, which if you have a high intelligence is amazing. Your Imperials are your diplomats. They have strong mercantile and speechcraft. They can help you bribe or talk your way out of certain situations. They also have a pretty good long blade stat, light armor, hand-to-hand blunt weapon. Hand-to-hand is quite useless in my opinion. You should never use it. But the long blade and light armor can come in well for a fighter. As well as these can help you bribe and talk your way out of certain situations. You'll find you need to bribe many NPCs through this game to do certain quests. Your specials are kind of shitty. This one can come in handy if you're fighting a mage, but it's only 30 seconds and the resist is quite low. Fortify speed, it's only 10 seconds and it's only 20 points. Not a big deal. Maybe if you're trying to run away from something, it's good to get into another building or something to rest. And command humanoid for 5 seconds, also kind of lackluster. Khajiit are great thieves or stealth characters. They have amazing acrobatics, which you'll find will come in handy, trying to jump from place to place, but they also have sneak, short blade, security, light armor, and athletics, all great for a stealth character. This is the only character I would recommend doing hand-to-hand with because of sharp claws. They give you a pretty decent bonus, and you also have this fortify strength and fortify attack, using that for if you need to get dirty with someone. You know, I don't really like hand-to-hand, but if you're gonna do it, pick a Khajiit. Here we have the Nords. They're your, stereotypical Viking warriors. You've got a good bonus to medium armor. You've got some long blade, blunt weapon, axe, spear, heavy armor. A couple of these are redundant because axe, blunt weapon, long blade, you're usually going to pick one and not use all of them, mostly because it is too hard to juggle skills in this game with how long it takes to level them up. I suggest stick with the medium armor if you pick a Nord. That 10 bonus gives you a pretty good one, and the expansions have some very good medium armor, unlike vanilla without the expansions. I also say go with axe if you're going to be Nord. There are some very strong axes out there, and the 10 bonus is fairly nice. You do have resist frost as a Nord, 75%, which is pretty damn good. And you have paralyzed for 5 seconds on touch, and that can be very useful if you're in a tight fight and you just need a couple more hits in to kill this guy. That is something that can really come in useful. Remember that you can only use your specials once every 24 hours. Orc is going to be your heavy infantry. They have armor, repair your own armor, axe, block, heavy armor, and medium armor. When playing an orc, I always recommend heavy armor, and just go with the axe. Or, actually, no, do not go with the axe if you're playing an orc. Go with long blade if you're playing the orc. Heavy armor, long blade, block. There are some amazing two-handed swords in this game, which go perfect with the way the orc plays if you just want to run in with bloodlust and warcry and attack people. You also have battle harden, which is fortify attack. Basically increases your percent chance to hit things. Very useful. There is one sword in here which I'm not going to really tell you because it kind of spoils, and it's one of my favorite things in this game. That is just amazing for an orc. Block is very useful. It is a passive skill. You have like a random chance to block an attack. It's very good. It is always active no matter what you're doing. Works better with the shield. You've got red guards, which are your natural fighters. They have all kinds of skills. I'm not really a fan of these guys outside of their long blade is 15. If you plan to go with long blade, they can be a very effective choice. They do also have heavy armor, medium armor, short blade, axe, athletics. The only thing that's great about these guys is they've got the long blade, athletics, and I guess an armor trait. I'll usually go with medium armor. This can be very useful with the speed and attack. If you just need to burst someone who is exceptionally strong, you can use that. You do have these resist, which they're alright. If you do get poisoned, doesn't matter there. Fortify block, 50 points for 5 seconds. It's very, very situational. You're going to find yourself hard-pressed to be remembering to use this with its 5-second window. Adrenaline Rush is actually very good. This is the special which Red Guards are known for. Agility, Strength, and Endurance, 30 points for 15 seconds. That's enough to really get a good attack going and work someone down. And we're on to Wood Elves. These are my favorite characters out of all of them, just due to the fact that I am a big fan of stealth characters, and these guys are the best stealth marksmen. And this is what I'll go with. They do have resist common disease, they have chameleon, which can be useful, and command creature, which is just about useless. So I'm going to change his face. Oh, that's sex. Even though it doesn't really matter, as you will probably always have a helmet on. But these guys have got light armor, marksman, sneak, and a little bit of acrobatics. And alchemy is kind of nice, but also kind of useless. Unless you actually really go hard with it, it's really not going to do much for you at all. So let's start it up, guys. That's a little overview of the classes. I hope that helps in making your own decision. But for this tutorial series, I'm going to go with a stealth character.
Great. I'm sure you'll fit right in. Follow me up to the office and they'll finish your release.
So we're going up to the Census office to meet Secocius Argala. And this is where you'll craft your class.
Yes, we've been expecting you. You'll have to be recorded before you're officially released. There are a few ways we can do this, and the choice is yours.
Now, when creating your class, you can create a custom class yourself. You can pick from their class list, or he gives a certain series of questions that you can answer. And based on the answers to these questions, he will basically generate the class that matches your answers as closely. The class list is, they've got some default presets here. I'm not really a fan of doing these, as a lot of times they will just have bad combinations. Like willpower personality with a magic specialization, or you've got blunt weapon and light armor, also with hand-to-hand as a major. It's just kind of a mess, in my opinion. There are a couple good ones. I'm trying to remember which ones they are. This one looks alright, actually. Except for hand-to-hand, that you can replace that with something better. But, like I said, not really a fan of these. But it is decent to give yourself an idea if you're not really sure what to do. These can help, and you can look at these and say, oh, that looks good, except for maybe, this, and this, and this, and this. But what we're going to do first is just kind of do this generate class, because I love this, it's hilarious, and it's just a fun way to start off. So we're gonna generate our class, and we're not actually gonna use the class that's generated. We're gonna create our custom one, and I'll go over the skills and kind of what they do, what they're used for, what's most useful. But this is just for fun because I love his questions, and I've loved them ever since I was a little kid.
On a clear day, you chance upon a strange animal, its leg trapped in a hunter's claw snare. Judging from the bleeding, it will not survive long. What do you do?
Do not interfere in the natural evolution of events, but rather take the opportunity to learn more about a strange animal that you've never seen before. Use herbs from your pack to put it to sleep, or draw your dagger, mercifully ending its life with a single thrust. We kill that son of a bitch.
One summer afternoon, your father gives you a choice of chores. What would you rather do?
Would you rather gather herbs for your mother who is preparing dinner, work in the forge with him casting iron for a new plow, or go catch fish at the stream using a net and line? Let's pick the laid-back chore, relax by the stream.
Your cousin has given you a very embarrassing nickname, and even worse, likes to call you it in front of your friends. You have asked him to stop, but he finds it very amusing to watch you blush. What do you do?
Make up an even more embarrassing nickname for him and use it constantly until he learns his lesson. Make up a story that makes your nickname a badge of honor instead of something humiliating. Or beat up your cousin, then tell him that if he ever calls you that nickname again, you will bloody him worse than this time. The badass option is tempting, but we're gonna go with badge of honor.
There is a lot of heated discussion at the local tavern over a group of people called telepaths. They've been hired by certain city-state kings. Rumor has it these telepaths read a person's mind and tell their lord whether a follower is telling the truth or not. You believe what?
Loyal followers to the king have nothing to fear from a telepath. It is important to have a method of finding assassins and spies before it is too late. In these times, it is a necessary evil. Although you do not necessarily like the idea, a telepath could have certain advantages during a time of war, or in finding someone innocent of a crime. This is a terrible practice. A person's thoughts are his own, and no one, not even a king, has the right to make such an invasion into another human's mind. I agree. This is a heinous act.
Your mother sends you to the market with a list of goods to buy. After you finish, you find that by mistake a shopkeeper has given you too much money back in exchange for one of the items. What do you do?
Return to the store and give the shopkeeper his hard-earned money. Explain to him the mistake. Decide to put the extra money to use and purchase items that would help your family. Or pocket the extra money, knowing that shopkeepers in general tend to overcharge customers anyway. Yeah, that bastard's charging us way too much, right?
While in a marketplace, you witness a thief cut a purse from a noble. Even as he does so, the noble notices and calls for the city guards. In his haste to get away, the thief drops the purse near you. Surprisingly, no one seems to notice the bag of coins at your feet. What do you do?
Pick up the bag and signal to the guard, knowing that the only honorable thing to do is to return the money to its rightful owner. Pick up the bag and pocket it, knowing that the extra windfall will help your family in times of trouble. Or just leave the bag there, knowing that it's probably better to not get involved. You know what? I'm going to look out for my family in this one. We need all the aid we can get.
Your father sends you on a task which you loathe, cleaning the stables. On the way there, pitchfork in hand, you run into your friend from the homestead near your own. He offers to do it for you, in return for a future favor of his choosing. What do you do?
Decline his offer, knowing that your father expects you to do the work and it is better not to be in debt. Accept his offer, reasoning that as long as the stables are cleaned, it matters not who does the cleaning. Ask him to help you, knowing that 2 people can do the job faster than 1, and agree to help him with one task of his choosing in the future. Well, I know this friend, and this friend is a sadistic little twat, and it's good that we're not in debt to him, so we're going to do this all ourselves.
Your mother asks you to help fix the stove. While you're working, a very hot pipe slips its moorings and falls towards her. What do you do?
Push your mother out of the way. Position yourself between the pipe and your mother, or grab the hot pipe and try to push it away. Well, I think we're just going to try and push Mom out of the way. Try to neither of us get hurt by the hot pipe.
While in town, the baker gives you a sweet roll. Delighted, you take it into an alley to enjoy, only to be intercepted by a gang of 3 other kids your age. The leader demands the sweet roll, or else he and his friends will beat you and take it. What do you do?
Give him the sweet roll now without argument, knowing that later, this afternoon, you will have all your friends with you and can come and take whatever he owes you. Act like you're gonna give him the sweet roll, but at the last minute, throw it in the air, hoping that they'll pay attention to it long enough for you to get a shot in on the leader. Or drop the sweet roll and step on it, then get ready for the fight. I hate bullies. We're gonna beat the shit out of them.
Entering town, you find that you are witness to a very well-dressed man running from a crowd. He screams to you for help. The crowd behind him seems very angry. What do you do?
Stand aside and allow the man and mob to pass, realizing that it's probably best not to get involved. Rush to the town's aid immediately, despite your lack of knowledge of the circumstances. Rush to the man's aid immediately, despite your lack of knowledge of the circumstances. I think we're gonna stand aside. We don't know what's going on, and we don't want to get involved on the wrong side, whichever that may be. And so they think we're a rogue with our personality. And you know what? That's kind of what we were going for. That's kind of what we were going for, right? I want to be a stealth character. I said that earlier.
Very good. The letter that preceded you mentioned you were born under a certain sign. And what would that be?
Now, the sign is actually pretty important, although you could misconstrue it as just kind of crap. The Apprentice is a pretty damn good one, but it is also high risk. It is essentially the high elf of signs. High risk, high reward. You have Fortify Maximum Magicka, 1.5 times your intelligence, but you also have Weakness to Magicka, 50%. So you can pair this with a Breton, and you won't have that huge of a bonus. I mean, Weakness to Magicka is pretty damn bad when it's 50%, as mages in this game can be exceptionally strong. So I actually recommend never taking this unless you are exceptionally confident you can always dodge their spells or kill them before they see you. But the Maximum Magicka 1.5 times intelligence will basically make sure you never run out of Magicka unless you are just spamming spells. The Atronach is a very good sign if you know what you're doing. You have Spell Absorption, spells will not hit you as hard. You have Fortify Maximum Magicka, which is 2 times intelligence. This is disgustingly huge. But the problem is you have Stunted Magicka, which means that sleeping and resting will not regenerate your Magicka. You have to use potions. If you forget to use potions, you will have no Magicka. But you will have a huge pool of Magicka, especially if you pick a high elf, because you'll have 3.5 times your intelligence as a bonus. That is ridiculous. It's a huge amount. But you also have to remember to always take potions with you. Otherwise, you could be in a dangerous situation and not have any Magicka to cast spells to get out of it. In that case, if you do take this, one thing I really love is the teleportation scrolls. I'm blanking on the name right now for some reason, but there are scrolls that, when cast, will take you to certain places. We'll come across them in the game, and I'll remember what they are. For some reason, I'm blanking. The lady. This is probably my favorite sign, especially if you choose a beast race or an orc. Personality increases your disposition with everyone in the world. If you have a higher personality, people like you more. They're more willing to give out information. They will sell their items lower and will buy your items at a higher price. It also gives you Fortify Endurance 25 points. Now, Endurance is really important in this game because Endurance decides on how much HP per level you're getting. If you level up, the game takes your Endurance, divides it by 10, and adds it to your health. So if you don't have a very high Endurance, you're not going to be getting that many HP points per level, which makes Endurance super important for playing people who are up close and personal, for playing warriors. You want warriors to have huge endurance bonuses. Even for scouts and mages, it is still exceptionally important to have a decent amount of health points, or else you'll find that there's people in the game that'll be able to just one-shot you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, getting high endurance early will help you amass a decent amount of HP points early on, as it does not... You won't get any HP lost. If you get your endurance really high after 5 levels, you won't get any of those HP points back that you lost, if you get what I'm saying. The Lord, this is just a terrible sign. You don't want this one at all. I'm not even gonna like go over it. It's just bad. As you can see, weakness fire 100%. It's not worth anything. The Lover, Fortify Agility 25. That's actually pretty good for Scout. It's really nice to have that Fortify Agility. most scout abilities rely on agility or speed, and so that's a good bonus. Lever's Kiss really isn't that great. It is a paralyze for 10 seconds, which can get you out of a sticky situation if you're in one, but it will damage your fatigue. So I recommend not using it against someone who's hand-to-hand, as they'll start knocking you onto the ground. The Mage is a decent mage sign. You only get 0.5 times intelligence bonus to Magicka, but it comes at no cost. So if you're just looking for just only beneficial, this works, and you can use this with a Breton, and then you will have no detriments whatsoever. Ritual, kind of shit. Restore points, 100 points, or restore health, 100 points. You know, a decent emergency spell, nothing great. Turn undead, lackluster. Serpent, not very good. The Shadow, invisibility for 60 seconds, can come in handy sometimes. There's really not that many situations you'll need it for. I would skip this one. The Steed is one of the better ones in my opinion. A lot of people in this game will get burnt out because of the slow run speed, and Fortify Speed will kind of give you a nice little bump so as to not feel like you're walking everywhere. You can also, you know, if you're playing a thief, like a scout character, and you pick speed as one of your main stats, you might not want this, but if you're playing a warrior who's going to be using heavy armor, or if you're going to be playing a mage who will really never upgrade speed because you're not going to have anything that will upgrade your speed, this might be a good bonus for you. Actually, mage, I wouldn't take that because you can just make spells that will enhance your speed. But if you're a warrior, this is definitely one you might want to look at just to keep yourself moving faster. The Thief, Sanctuary, 10 points. Not that great. Tower Key, open 50 points on touch. I used to love this when I was a little kid because I would open locks. But in reality, this is a really shitty sign. Not worth it. And the Warrior is it's an alright sign. Fortify your attack, helps you hit things more often, but eventually that won't matter once you get your skills up a decent amount. My top 3 is going to be the Lady for personality endurance. This is probably one of my favorites out of all of them. This is my number 1 that I rank. It's great for every class, every race. Personality endurance is great for no matter what you are. For mages, I really like the Apprentice. Even though you do have weakness to Magicka, if you're smart, you can, basically not get hit by magic. And if you are smart, you're also casting, resistance spells and other stuff like that. If you don't want the weakness to Magicka, Atronach is amazing as well. Just remember that you're going to be spending a lot of money on mana potions, or you're going to be crafting your own mana potions, because you're going to have zounds of them to play this game with the mage and not have any resting bonuses. The last one that I think is good is the Steed. Like I said, Fortify Speed. It's really good for anyone, but mostly I would use it if you are a scout or if you are a warrior. Helps you move around the map faster, makes you feel like you're not slow as shit. But for this playthrough, I'm going to be using the Lady for the personality and endurance bonus.
Interesting. Now, before I stamp these papers, make sure this information is correct.
Alright, now, we are going to change our class because we did get Rogue, but I'm going to fill this out, kind of show you guys, what each one does. Now, specialization, whatever you pick, you will get plus 10 to each skill under that category. If you pick combat, you'll get plus 10 to block, medium armor, blunt, axe, athletics, armor, heavy armor, long blade, spear. Same as goes for magic and stealth. And this is your favorite attributes. Actually, alright, so when you pick a favorite attribute, you get plus 10 to the attribute you chose. So for a scout, we're going to pick agility, and speed. For major skills, I love marksman. I love to shoot people before they get close. I love short blade, so when they do get close, or if we're going to try and backstab someone for quite a bit of damage, you need to have the skill to be able to do that, to be able to hit them. Light armor is a no-brainer for a scout. You don't want to be weighed down too much. Also, light armor has some of the best looking armor in the game, which is glass. We're going to want sneak, so no one can hear us, so we can get those criticals. And the next one that I want for major is going to be, I'm thinking it's going to be security, which is picking locks and disarming traps. Now, minor skills, we're going to have acrobatics, because you can get easy levels just by boosting the skill by jumping around everywhere. I'm going to have athletics, because you get that just by running around, and it's governed by speed. I'm going to take mercantile for better prices of selling and buying. I'm going to take speechcraft for easier bribing, because I will bribe a lot. And the last one I'm going to take is going to be, we're going with alchemy, just because. Now, major skills, I believe they give you a plus 20 point stat bonus. Minor skills, I believe, are a plus 10. When making a class, you can name it and give it a description. You don't really need to do that, but if you're like a role player, it might be something you want to do. Might be something nice for you. So, let's name our class, Sneaky Beaky, why not? And we kill people silently and shit. Alright. So, this is us. This is basically the end of the character creation. Gives you kind of an overview. We've got 65 personality, 55 endurance, 60 speed, 60 agility. Looks pretty damn good. These all kind of explain to you what they do as you hover over them, so I'm not really going to go over that. I'll go over these skills. Actually, I totally forgot to go over the skills, like all of them. Okay, so block is a passive chance at blocking an attack. It's not active, you don't do anything, it just kind of goes up as you get hit. Armor is repairing your own armor with blacksmith hammers and stuff like that. Medium armor is how much defensive points you'll get by wearing medium armor. Heavy armor is the same for heavy armor. Blunt weapon is how well you'll attack with a blunt weapon, how much damage, and how often you'll hit. Long blade, how much damage, how often you'll hit with long blades. Axe, spear, in the same vein. Athletics determines how much fatigue it takes to run and jump, and also helps with how fast you're running. Enchant is enchanting items and putting bonuses on them, like fire damage on a sword, or increase sneak on boots. Destruction is shooting, destruction spells, fire, lightning, stuff like that. Alteration, right there, water breathing, walking, jumping, levitating. Very useful for thief if you want to actually work that up. I find myself saying it's a little too much work or money to get that up to a decent level where you're actually doing stuff. Illusion, blind, paralyze, silence. It's really good for paralyze or invisibility. Other than that, kind of lackluster. Conjuration, you get to summon a bunch of cool shit. I love that for mages. Mysticism, Soul Trap, you've got Absorb Health, Absorb Magicka type stuff. Very useful as a mage. I always take that. Restoration, I mean, most people know what that is. Healing, curing. Alchemy, making potions, understanding what certain ingredients do if eaten alone. Unarmored is how high your defense skill is unarmored. Security is opening locks and disarming traps. Sneak is sneaking. Acrobatics is how high you can jump. Light armor is your skill in light armor, how much damage it can take and how much it gets used up by getting hit. Short blade is your proficiency with short blades. Marksman is your proficiency with a bow, how, your chance to hit and how hard you're hitting. Mercantile is used for buying low, selling high, right there, it says right there. Speechcraft is for bribing and intimidating and admiring, stuff like that. And hand-to-hand is punching with no weapon. But anyway, now this is our class. You've got your overview here. You can see your powers, your spells if you have any, your abilities, what your skills are at. And it really looks like we're doing pretty well. So we're going to get started here, and I'm going to show you a couple little tricks and explain a couple differences with the Rebirth mod compared to vanilla.
Show your papers to the captain when you exit to get your release fee.
So you take the papers, and what I like to do is come over here. In vanilla, this will be a limeware platter worth about 650. What you can do in this, in vanilla and with Rebirth, is you can just take it, and then you right click, and you just drop it. And you just got off the prison boat, so these guys are going to come over here. They're going to say,
the next building and
hey,
talk to Gravius.
Don't do that. If once you get out of here, you're going to get arrested again. You say, sorry about that, and you pick them up off the ground. Fairly simple. Now, I'm using Morrowind Rebirth 3.0, like I said, which adds this little room and over here, which I've never actually been in. This is not going to be here in vanilla. This will be a storage room with some sacks of grain, and I think there's some, like liquor barrels over here that have like rum or meat or something in them. Now what I like to do is come over here. We're just going to ignore everything in that room for right now. You have to check the barrel here for this ring. We're going to come into this room. This is Celis Gravius. The Rebirth mod adds this shield and this helmet, which is kind of nice. But what we're really in here for is this key, which is here in vanilla as well. This is a key to the warehouse just on the other side of this door. You're going to take this and then right click immediately.
You've stolen for the last time.
And then you're just going to drop it on the ground. He's going to say, don't do that. I like to do it with his armor as well, just because it sells pretty well.
You've stolen for the last time.
Be careful after you get out of here. You don't want to be caught with this stuff on you, because if you get caught by Imperials and say you pay the gold to get rid of the fine, they'll still take these items. These items are still registered as stolen, so you'll lose them. Which is why I say don't rely on those items. Like if you're a fighter, don't rely on that heavy armor helm to like be your helmet for a while, because if you get caught by something, they'll take it, and then you're left without a helmet. I take everything in here. And we can sell this stuff to the local tradesman Eril. Looks like Hriskar's got some gambling debt. there's a lockpick, which we can use to get the cash right in this little chest here. And it is a dice roll system in this game, so you just kind of poke at the chest with your lockpick, and if your skill, you know, matches or beats what they've got as the lock level, then you open it. If you don't, your lockpick, it'll break. So then you talk to Celis Gravius after we've done all that, and you can ask him about all this stuff. He'll give you a nice little background, some lore. But, you know, you just have to talk to him and get this package for Caius Cosades. And then once you've done that, you can leave. Now, the first thing you want to do after you come out is talk to this guy right here. This guy's name is Fargoth. Fargoth lost his ring, and that's the ring that you found in that barrel. Tell him you found it. His disposition will go up to 100, but he'll also tell his friend Eril, who runs the trade house. That's right up there. And when you have a higher disposition, you'll get more money for your goods. So, now that Eril has been told about what a great guy we are, he'll give us better prices on all the shit we just stole from the Imperials. So you come over here, barter, and you can sell this shit now. The only thing I would keep is maybe that silver dagger, which you'll have if you're running Rebirth. If you're not, you won't have it. Keep that if you don't know where Caius Cosades' house is. I'm going to show you anyway, but it is directions, and that's the way the game gives them to you, is you have to pay attention to what it's telling you. There's no quest markers. It is very RPG-ish, which is honestly one of the things I absolutely love about this game, is it doesn't babysit you. And you can sell all this stuff and get a decent amount of money back. $499. If you do have vanilla and not Rebirth, you'll probably have more money, because this redware platter will be a limeware platter worth 650, I believe. And here's the first place you can start to get some beginners armor. If you're a light armor, chitin is what you want to go with. It's going to be the best value and armor for the price. And if you're heavy, try and get what steel armor you can. Although before you buy the armor here, I'll show you what to do for heavy armor. Now, we've still sold a good bit. I'm actually going to grab a short bow and some arrows though, because that is my primary damage source, is going to be marksman. And you can work the price a little bit. Don't do it too much or he'll decline. And then you can put on your new armor. And I got my odd-looking helmet. Now, if you are heavy armor, before you buy any armor, you want to come right here. And this is the Census and Excise warehouse, which is opened by the key you found right next to Celis Gravius. And in these crates right here, you will find weapons and armor. Now, word of caution, there is a roaming Imperial who likes to watch this, so make sure he's not around before you start delving into all the boxes. There is also more stuff in vanilla than with the Rebirth mod. It kind of tones down how much gear you'll find in here. With vanilla, I'm almost positive you can find several steel armor pieces, while with Rebirth you won't find that. But you do find skooma, like we just found in there, and moon sugar, so you can start your drug empire. And we're a little bit overweight, so we're going to drop some pillows. And we're going to go over to Arrow now and sell our booty. And this is a very quick and effective way to get some early cash to start you out on the right path in this game. And little thing to explain here is, if you're playing vanilla, these houses, like most of these houses here, like this one, this one, this one, this one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, they won't exist. All that will exist is, I believe, this one, that one, there's one more house, I think, might be that one, that are actually here. And this staircase will not exist either. Rebirth takes Seyda Neen and actually makes it into the port city that it was kind of meant to be, and it really looks more like a little trade hub on the ocean, which is something I really love. So anyway, we were going to Errol's house. And I forgot. Errol will not sell or trade with you if you have moon sugar or skooma on you, because those are drugs, and Errol is a law-abiding citizen. He will not associate with you if you have those. But you can just drop him on the ground right there, and then he'll buy all your shit. He'll just turn a blind eye. So, we have sold all that, and you can see he has a certain amount of gold, and he can only give you what he has in it, unless you wait, I think, 24 hours in vanilla, 48 in Rebirth. Divine Intervention. This is the scroll I was talking about, that if you are playing with the Atronach, you might want to carry a couple of these on you. Basically, if you're any class, you might want to carry a couple of these on you. When you cast that spell, it'll take you to the nearest Imperial Shrine. So, usually if you cast it in Vivec, you'll end up in Ebonheart. It's very good for getting out of sticky situations. If you found yourself fighting too many things that you cannot handle, cast that spell, heal up, go back when you're more prepared. That scroll has saved my ass several times and is very useful. If you are a mage with Atronach, take that, as it can get you out, and you're not going to be able to cast anything. You can also use Almcivi Intervention. This takes you to, I believe, the closest tribunal temple, if I'm correct. Either one of these will work in getting you the fuck out of where you're in trouble at. Also, if you're a warrior or mage, if you're a mage and you're not using mysticism, and if you're a warrior, Unduci's Unhinging. These scrolls will open just about most things early, until you can find a mage merchant who will give you a scroll that will open 100 points. Those usually cost a lot, but these can help get you a lot of the loot you'll be missing if you don't have any kind of, open chest. So, I always suggest, if you're back in town and you've got some cash on you, pick up some Unhinging scrolls, pick up some Divine Intervention, Almcivi Intervention. It's going to help you out a lot in the long run. So, we're going to sell that shit and pick up our skooma and moon sugar. Head back to the warehouse to pick up what's left. There's not that much left, but we want to milk Errol of everything we can. And we definitely will by the end of this. So we're going to run up these stairs. Nothing in there. Here's some more moon sugar. Moon sugar. And that's everything that you're going to be able to get in here. Over here, here's the Imperial Guard. He will sometimes roam down there and go up the stairs to check on all his loot. Over here, there is a woman who is kind of standing here. She's the bookkeeper. You can see the gold, shipping log, and a chest. Unless you have really high stealth, you're not going to really be able to get anything out from under her. She's pretty watchful. So, that's just what's over here. You're not really going to need anything over there, so now we leave. Now, we're not that burdened, so I'm going to go show you the Taxman quest. We're going to stop by Flying Man's grave and do the Taxman quest. So, the Taxman quest is, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. There is a tax collector who was collecting taxes in Seyda, Neen, lived here, and unfortunately, people were unhappy with how high the taxes were. And one guy decided to put him out of his misery. You know, he didn't want any more taxes, so he showed the tax man who the real man is. And, I will continue telling you that as soon as I kill this rat, who I'm not sure what he's doing. I think his pathing is trying to get him on the bridge, but it doesn't really know how to get him up there. See, where is he? What is going on? Is he under the bridge? Come on, buddy. Huh. This is so odd. I can't see him. Oh, there he is. I think he's stuck in the ground, technically. We're just gonna leave him. It seems he's stuck in the world. We're not gonna bother with that. We're gonna go find Flying Man. Flying Man is a wood elf named Tarheel, and he made a scroll that will increase his acrobatics by 1,000. And he used it, and it wore off. And this is him. Right here. These acrobatic scrolls actually come in handy at least once. So just take everything he has. At least that's what I like to do. And here's his journal. You can read it. Kind of explains what went on with him. I've read it before. It's pretty interesting. In vanilla, that sword he has will be an iron spark sword, which is very useful early, especially if you're using long blade. Definitely something that will give you a little boost, head start. The magic damage, if your skill isn't very high, is always the same. It's static, so you don't have to worry about, you know, not doing enough damage. And we're gonna a lot of stuff out here to kill today. A lot of stuff hungry for blood. So we're gonna go find the taxman. He was collecting a little too much from people. They got pissed and ended up making him swim with the fishes. It's a tragic story, but one that ends up being exceptionally profitable for us. Wow, we cannot hit anything right now. One thing that I should explain is that your chance to hit gets exponentially lower the lower the fatigue you have. If you have high fatigue, you'll have a pretty good chance of hitting things. Low fatigue, that chance goes way down. So here is the taxman, Processus Vitellius. He's got tax money on him, his tax record, and his clothes. You can't actually dispose of his corpse, so you see some fancy underwear if you try to dispose of his corpse. So the next part of the taxman quest is getting back to town. And Normally what you would do is when you find his body, the quest says, you know, I found a corpse. He's carrying tax records, he had money. And you're supposed to go ask around the town, you gotta see what happened. You can check with the Census Nexus and tell them what happened. They'll tell you to find out who killed him and to bring the Emperor's judgment down. But if you want to trick the system a little bit and make the max amount of money possible... Oh, enemies nearby. Oh! Help me, guard. Guards will kill shit for you if you don't have very high fatigue. There we go. So what you can do to trick the system, as I was saying, is... You've got the 200 from his tax money. If you go to the Census Nexus, they'll take the 200. And then tell you to find the killer. So, what you want to do is come to this house right here. This is Foreign Gilness Shack. You want to save. Talk to him. He's already got the option. Talk to him about the murder. He says, yeah, I killed that fucker. He was taking honest people's money. So you say, sorry, that's no excuse for murder. Punishment has been decided.
You will die.
Now you have to kill him. He uses his fists, which, when getting hit by fists, takes down your fatigue. When you hit 0 fatigue, you'll get knocked on the ground, and then he'll start hitting your health. So what you want to do is basically attack him until you get low fatigue, and then you want to just get out of there, wait an hour, then head back in with full fatigue.
Stupid. You in.
And he can be a pain to kill. Because your chance to hit him gets much lower the more he takes your fatigue. So if you don't get a couple good shots in early, you're probably not going to be hitting him. And I am using the bow because my short blade skill is actually quite low. But we might try the short blade. Let's put that on. Although short blade is not doing much damage, but I am hitting him. Although we're not really getting anywhere hitting him with this little bit.
I have you.
Alright, now you want to get out of there. Wait an hour. He'll still have those stab wounds, but your bruises won't hurt so much. You'll be ready for the fight again. This guy's a tough. This guy's tough. Used to be a boxer. Okay, he almost did us in there at the last moment. He's on the brink of death, but he almost got us. So
Have you?
we're gonna finish him here. One more hit. That's all it'll take. And now that he's dead, you find Processus Vitellius' ring on him, and we're gonna do something with that in just a minute. But first, we're gonna kind of take some stuff from his house, which is now your house. Congratulations, you now have a home. So, after you've killed him, I like to come over here to the lighthouse and chat with the lady in here, because the lady who runs the lighthouse actually was in love with Processus. She was his secret lover. So, if you come to her, you talk to her, you say you have his ring, she'll give you 2 health potions for it. Now, she doesn't matter at all to the story or anything except that. So what I like to do is kill her and get the ring back.
There is no escape.
She is also a boxer. For some reason, she is exceptionally good.
You Enwa!
Can take an arrow pretty well.
I have you.
So same strategy. You want to stay close to the door so you can get your fatigue back. And try to kill her.
Stupid.
For some reason, arrows just don't seem to like do much to them at all.
Now you die.
But doing these stupid early fights like this is a pretty decent way to get some early skill ups that aren't too risky, as you can always just leave and essentially heal. We've almost got her dead.
Suffer greatly.
One more arrow is all it takes. Come on. There we go. Now when you kill her, you'll find his ring, some arrows if you shot her with them. You can dispose of her corpse. You can open that chest if you want. And you can come up here. There's a book. It increases your unarmored, some grief. And we have to actually come back here for Fargoth's quest, which we're just about to do. So, we'll be right back. What we're going to do is hop on over to Errol's trade house, sell some of the stuff that we've just collected from all these dead bodies, and then we're going to head right on over to... Ooh, got caught on something. Then we're going to head right on over to the Census and Excise office,
What was that?
where we will complete the Taxman quest. So we come to Errol. Make sure to drop your moon sugar and your skooma. Barter with Errol. And sell him all this unnecessary junk you've got. These people's clothing that you killed. You can sell the ring, sell these ingredients, your liquor, sell this book you found, his journal. Or you can read the journal and sell it. It's actually an interesting read. The book, other book. And he actually has no money left, so what I'm going to do is buy some of these lockpicks, because lockpicks are always super useful, and he didn't have enough money for that transaction anyway. So I'm going to do that. I'm also going to buy a couple more arrows. I'm going to buy 50. And I'm going to jack up the total sold price just a little bit, because we've had a pretty large transaction going on here. And, oh, he refused it. He's a greedy bastard. So we do that. Got some more arrows. We've sold out stuff. Got some more money. Now what we're going to do is head on over to the Census and Excise office, which is just... You have to go through Stelis Gravius's room because the front door to the Census and Excise office is locked 100 for some reason, so it's unrealistic to get in that way at this moment in time. Talk to Sicosius about the murder. He'll be glad that you've you know, dealt justice, and he'll give you 500, and he won't take the 200 of the tax money that he will if you go to him first without killing the guy, which is 200 free gold. It's fantastic. So now we're gonna do Fargoth's quest. You come over here to Ariel's trade house. Make sure you've given the ring to Fargoth and done that, which I explained earlier, because you can get it back through this. talk to Hriskar. He's the guy who has gambling debt. And he tells you that he wants to find Fargoth's hiding spot, get some money. Say you'll do it. He'll tell you to go up to the lighthouse and watch Fargoth. And that's where you'll find his hiding spot, where he hides his money and other valuables. So, we come to the lighthouse. You just... And then we're going to end up standing on that corner up there. Now the Rebirth mod adds a tree kind of in the way of where you would watch Fargoth. So when you come up here, it has to be night, like it is now, 3 a.m. And you just wait. Fargoth is in this area here. Eventually he kind of sneaks around, you'll see him crouched, and he'll walk there, there, and he comes here. Then he goes to his hiding spot, which is that stump right there. With the extra flora, you can't see him, so until he gets here, oh, there he is. And then he'll go there. And then once he's actually walked up to that stump, you'll find that the items have spawned in the stump, which is his items, which you steal. If you don't do this quest, and you just go to the stump, there won't be anything in there. So make sure you do the Fargoth quest. You get a good bit of stuff for doing it. So now that he's right there walking the stump, we can jump down from here. We're not actually going to jump. Usually I would jump, but my health is a little low right now, so I don't want to risk dying. If you're afraid, you can always quick save. It's F5. I find myself quick saving a lot just to avoid bugs and crashes. You know, you don't want them to affect you too much. Quick save, you don't have to worry about it. So you come over here to the stump. You got 300 gold, a lockpick, and that ring if you gave it back to him. And now at this point in time, you can go back to Hriskar, give him, 200 of the gold. He'll let you keep 100, or you can not finish the quest and keep it all for yourself. I keep it all for myself because you know what, Hriskar doesn't matter. He's just a scrub who lost too much money at cards. So now I'm gonna heal up. Now we're full health, have a house, we've got, some decent starting armor, some weapons, we've got 1700 gold, 16 moon sugar, 2 skumas, we're starting our drug enterprise, we've got Icarian flight scrolls, we're doing pretty well. From here on, you end up going to Balmora, and you can start basically exploring the world from this point on. This is going to be the end of my first video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.